Hello everyone, welcome back to Nukeshot Media and welcome back to the ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2. I know it's been a little while, we've been on hiatus for a bit, but we're finally back with round 4 of the season here at the Tokyo Expressway on the South Outer Loop. Today, joining me in the booth, I don't even have a beverage this time because I'm extremely prepared, and unfortunately no Mika either. He's meeting up with a friend of his who recently got back from, I believe it was Syria, something like that. Anyway, that's Mika's matters, so that's why he's not here today, unfortunately. But nevertheless, I'm here. Hello, John wandering immediately with the nobody cares veggie comment. Nice having the support, as always, from you, John wandering. So, of course, the ARS Touring Car Championship is back, as I get it up on my phone again. Free practice will end in not too long from now o'clock, around 4 minutes from now, at 1:45. That will be followed by a 5-minute break, and then qualifying will start shortly after that. It's going to be a 10-minute session. Race 1 will then start. It'll last for 30 minutes. There'll be a break in between race 1 and race 2. Race 2 will be a reverse grid based on 20 minutes. Both races set to bring us plenty of action here at the Tokyo Expressway. Slipstreaming definitely key, and braking it if you're at the lead of the pack definitely essential as well. It is quite a high-speed circuit, quite a few technical sections as well on this particular layout, including the hairpin as you go towards the pit lane, technically, on the circuit. The pit lane nowhere near where the start-finish line is. And of course there is a very challenging chicane, which has been catching people out quite a bit recently. Here's ART Hagee, doing a nice job there through the chicane, nice and close to the wall. I'll see if I can get an onboard with him for a lap. Here we see just making his way up towards the start-finish line, crossing it now, going onto a lap. A slight kink to the right, then your first real braking zone. Not much of a braking zone, difficult to make an overtake there, especially with how close the walls are. It is a bit narrow, this section. All about rhythm. As you see Amuda just up ahead, scraping the wall, should hopefully stay out of the way. Yep, does so. Plunging down and into this hairpin, which I was on about. Pit's going to be on the left. There you see the yellow line for pit entry, and he has reset himself. I'll see if I can pick up with a car that's around that same-ish area. Who's that? Ah, that's the Joe 2 guy. We'll resume from here, making your way down the straight after the hairpin. Plenty of kinks down here, just to keep your steering and focus in check. But it is pretty much flat out. Through the tunnel we go, adjusting vision, and then going out the tunnel again, having to refocus as you're coming up to another very tricky corner. This very high speed right-hander is slightly banked. All about how much speed you can carry down to here, the chicane. We'll see how Joe navigates here. You can see how much the car hops over there. The Alfa Romeo also a little bit on the twitchy side, we may recall from previous races, so could be a contributing factor as well. And then the final corner, and then the run down to the line. So a very high speed lap here at the Tokyo Expressway. That is the new fastest lap from practice. That's a 1:40.791 for the Joe 2 guy. Qualifying scheduled to be starting very shortly. Hello to both John Wandering and Thick Quinners fan in the chat. Nice seeing that Quinners has actually managed to contact his man down and actually show up on this time, but Nevertheless, great to have you guys along. Always grateful having as many viewers as possible for these events. At the minute, Joe with the fastest time. Quinner's here, he is. Second fastest at the moment. Car 94, making their way around the final corner. Could it be an improvement for them? It's looking quite close, actually. It is an improvement by 1,000th of a second. So technically I wasn't wrong. We also have VLX C John, or Crazy John as he's known. Car 25, that VLX Virtual Life Experience Honda. Looking quite nice with the black and blue design. Of course, ART Hagi here as well today. League organizer. Wangang Ghost in the Castrol livery NSX. I think he's made some slight changes to that. I could be wrong. Last time I think it may have been a white and Castrol colour design. Now he's gone for the black and Castrol design. Very Gran Turismo 1-esque in that sense. Looking quite good. ART James here as well in the BMW M4. Now, John Wandering saying the M4 should be good around here. It's quite juicy on the straights. Of course, 7-speed gearbox also helping with that. We'll see how he does. ART Splurge here as well in another Honda NSX. First time, am I right in saying that's the first time we've seen Splurge in a car all season? I could be wrong on that. Hey, great seeing him here. Car 93, that is. And a Muda for Golden Bear Motorsports, as usual, in the BMW M4. Nice green helmet there, nice plasma dynamics. It's a shame that the car has a roof on it, so it's not going to have much effect, but still, nice touch. And that are Iron 9 runners at the moment. Joe seeming to get it a little bit wrong in that chicane. It was reset to the pits. Qualifying a little bit delayed. Actually no, technically it's the break period right now, so qualifying will start in 2 minutes time, so apologies for getting that wrong. 8 viewers on stream, fantastic to see. We haven't even got any racing or even qualifying underway yet. Great to see the attendance here today. And if previous experiences at the Tokyo Expressway are anything to go by in other series such as the Nukeshot Endurance series, this is going to be 2 absolutely awesome races that we're going to witness as CJ very sideways and into the wall. That's not going to be damage for them. I have no idea how. Showing no fear as they made their way through that chicane. From John, this is to Amuda. He's telling you to be smooth, not push too hard in the section that he was twitchy in. I'm not particularly sure. I think it was the S's that I saw him hit the wall before. These S's. Nicely done here by Crazy John. I say that and he slightly scrapes the wall with that paintwork. Hagi charging his way down the straight. In theory this should be a decent track as well for the Toyotas. We saw they do have good straight line speed. In terms of the top end, they just struggle a bit for acceleration because they have limited torque. So perhaps out the hairpin might be their only struggle point, as we see quite a bit of lag unfortunately there. Hopefully that will clear up by the time of qualifying in the race. Oh, that's a bit suspect. Kind of seeming to be doing a little bit better in terms of internet than his Toyota teammate. Okay, so Joe's saying that he has to brake a bit earlier because of his car there in the chat. Just see that. Might as well use this opportunity to have a look at the championship information. In terms of the drivers' standings going into this, it's actually a dead heat for first place between ART Hagee and the Joe 2 guy, 60 points apiece. And also joint for third, just behind those two, on 55 points each, TSR Swablu and Roland Jupiter. That's Quinners, as we know him as well. CJ on 44 points in fifth, only won 25 points. They're not here today, unfortunately. ART James is here, perhaps they'll be able to jump them in the championship, we'll have to see. They're on 21 points. Wangan Ghost, who is here, is on 15 points, 13 points for Amuda, 13 points for John Wandering, so those two teammates on the same playing field. Vitor also in that fight on 13 points, so 3 cars on 13 points, who'd have thought. And then ART Splurge has actually been in a race before the season, my apologies for mentioning that earlier incorrectly. He's on 11 points, and J&D is on 1 point. Making their way through. Who's at the head of this field? It's Joe, okay. In terms of the Teams Championship, ARS Racing Blue and Team Simpet Racing both on 115 each, so that's also a battle for the lead in the Teams Championship. Then in third place is Virtual Life Experience on 44, 31 points for ARS Racing Team. Then Golden Bear Motorsports on 26, Scuderies Benalla, that is the Hyundai outfit if I recall correctly. They are on 25 points, so 1 point behind Golden Bear Motorsports. Interesting battles going on there. Lumi Motorsports on 8 points, they're in 7th, and R Sport is on 7 points in 8th. Here we see then the Joe 2 guy making his way through the first sets of corners, coming up to Sector 1's marker. Good thing about having the pit lane slightly in a different location from the start-finish line is less of an outlap having to complete. Then again, less chance to really get the tyres up to temperature. Good opportunity for the brakes though, with some of the braking zones around this circuit. Through the hairpin, nicely done by Joe. And just watch as he tries to find the path of least resistance. That way he doesn't scrub off any speed as he makes his way through. Hagee into the pits. I believe they might have picked up damage. I recall seeing them type in the chat saying sorry earlier, so they may have had contact with someone there. As he brake around the 50 board. Oh, car sliding to the outside there. Might not have been able to carry as much speed as they would have hoped. Also a little touch on the outside. Sparks being thrown up as well. Nice and cautious through the chicane. Close on exit with that wall. Does come up on them fast. And the final corner, pretty much just powering through in these Group 4 cars. And the run to the line. It's going to be a 141.416 for the Joe 2 guy. Instantly bettered by Roland Jupiter. That's a 140.966. James with the 142.057, Amuda 142.788, Crazy John 141.580, LT Splurge with a 144.830, Wangan Ghost 142.165, that puts them 5th, and Hagee just crossing the line now, yep, just going on to a new lap. So at the minute, remember 10 minutes in this qualifying session, it is Quinners topping the standings by 4.5 tenths. Could be using a bit of slipstream here from Joe, if he's close enough, although I don't quite think he's in range for that. I might be mistaken. Hagee wanted to do a lag check. Sure thing, you were lagging quite a bit earlier in practice. I caught that on stream. Vital, a 142.320. That's enough for 6th at the moment. Dynamic seems to have cleared up a bit for now, from what I'm seeing. Hopefully it stays that way. Here we see then the Joe2 guy making their way up to the line. I think it's going to be an improvement. It is! They go top of the timing sheets with a 1 minute 40.867. Just under a tenth faster than what Quinn has managed. Crazy John with the 141.144. Couple tenths off that pace then. Splurge improves, 142.359. That's enough for 7th at the minute. Vital improves, that's a 141.758. ART Hagee finally manages to set a lap. It's a 141.535. That's enough for 4th fastest. He's hit the wall there, and has avoided getting damage on this occasion. Again, through the S's, Mike seems to have cleared up, which is good to know. Joe coming up to a new sector, and he is nearly 2 tenths up. Vital improves, still 7th. It's a 142.150. Joe right on the limits. Let's see what he can do through the chicane. He's got to really send it. He does so, and he keeps it on the road. Quinn is looking very close to the wall. He's avoided damage though. Proper sends from all of these guys then at the moment. Running right up to the wall. It's a 140.391 for the Joe2 guy. Quinn has also improved with a 140.837. And once again, Joe having around 4.5 tenths on the rest of the field. Still a bit of time to go though. 2 laps there or thereabouts. Possibly 3. Someone's in the pits at the moment. That's a Muda. So they're just waiting it out. At the moment they are currently at the back of the qualifying order. Will hopefully be going out again. Perhaps looking for a slipstream partner. That could be an interesting tactic. So the top 2 once again making their way through the tunnel. We'll be coming up to another sector marker shortly. Let's see if there are any improvements from these guys. No improvement from Joe. No improvement from Quinners. 6 tenths off there. What about CJ? We're about to see he was green in sector 1. Did he go green in sector 2? No, he's lost a bit of time out, perhaps at the hairpin. Hagee, green here in sector 1. We'll be seeing if they can improve in sector 2 as well. Wangan Ghost. Oh, he just missed them coming across that sector marker, unfortunately. ART James, they're on an outlap at the moment. Perhaps on a fresh set of tyres. Of course, with it being a street circuit as well, you got to think the marbles aren't really going to run off onto like any grass verges or anything. They've got pretty much nowhere to go except the racing surface. Hagee really sending it too much, in fact, into the wall. Here it is on the onboard if we can, yep. Just trying to make up a bit too much time. I think it was the second curb there, and then smacking the wall on exit. So easy done. fact, I believe he's reset to the pits, so he's going to try and get another lap in. He's rejoined just ahead of teammate Quinners, actually, who is letting CJ go by, assumingly because he doesn't want to give him any slipstream. Let's see what CJ can do coming up to this sector marker in the tunnel again. Oh, he's close to his own time, but not quite there, as neither of the top two guys are improving just yet. Joe coming around the final corner. What can Joe do here? No improvement there. Quinn is really going to have to chuck it in. Oh, actually. Oh! He avoids the curbs altogether, but in doing so, cost him a bit of his line, and therefore just understeered off into that wall anyway. And the clock has timed out. We have completed the 10 minutes. Wangan Ghost improves to... well, I think they stay in 5th, but it's a 141.599 from them. James improves, not quite enough to beat them. It's a 142.013, so 4/10 off of Wangan Ghost's pace. Good seeing that the Honda of Wangan Ghost is competitive here today. James perhaps looking for a little bit more pace as well. Oh, Amuda into the wall there. In the background. Could be damage for them. Vitor making their way around the final corner and down towards the start-finish line. Checker flag is out. No improvement for them. And it was damage indeed for Amuda. Their best time, a 142.788. That's going to be 9th place for them. As ART Splurge actually improves to 6th with a 141.991, so they just managed to beat out their teammate James there, or fellow ART member James, I should probably say. And Hagee also improved. Hagee's actually got 3rd there on the last lap. Very impressive stuff by Hagee. 141.087. That displaces Crazy John to 4th. So fantastic effort there. So both of the Toyotas looking very strong. In fact, oh yeah, indeed, just 2 Toyotas. I remembered back to when Joe was in one of those as well last season. Here we go then, race 1 at the Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop. Here is your grid rundown. The Joe 2 guy on pole position. Quinners will be alongside. Hagee 3rd, Crazy John 4th, Wangan goes 5th, Splurge 6th, James 7th, Vitor 8th, and Amuda rounding off the grid in 9th. So, without further ado, we're about to get race 1 of round 4 of ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2 underway. Green, 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 and the cars are off. And immediately Onion barges as they make their way down towards turn 1. The Alpha had a very good launch, of course the Toyotas would bog down, and it's a right cluster behind them. 3 wide going into turn 1. Quinners manages to hold on to 2nd. Splurge up to 3rd. Great effort by them. Crazy John in 4th. I think Hagee has been pretty much swamped off the line by a lot of people. He's down into 7th at this stage. Amuda's up to 5th meanwhile. We know that BMW is quite good on the launches. Crazy John looking to send it into the hairpin, side by side between the 2 Hondas. He hits the wall. Makes contact with the wall, sends himself into Splurge. Both of them avoiding damage, I think. Yep. All that squabbling has allowed Joe to break slipstream crucially. He's 2.3 seconds up the road, but this is some great dueling early on. Just gotta be careful of the walls here, guys. Don't get too greedy. Amuda's up to 4th meanwhile. He's really having a storming start. The other BMW there of James hanging back in 7th at the moment, tucked under the rear wing of Hagee. Looking at this, Amuda to the outside, Crazy John to the inside, going into here. Side by side, 2 by 2, Quinners nudges Amuda into the wall slightly. I think that was just understeer as Crazy John moves up into second place rather. They make their way through the chicane for the first time. Any fatalities? Looks like Vital rather. Pardon me for getting that wrong for the 80th time. Has managed to get that just a little bit wrong. Have they managed to pick up damage from that? No. I don't think so anyway, or have they? No, indeed they haven't. So Joe manages to have checked out side by side again. Splurge looking around the outside line. Crazy John into the wall. Hagee's battling his way back up to 4th place side by side with his teammate. Look at this great racing. Hagee now looking for 3rd. And somehow through all of that, Amuda, who was in 4th, has dropped back down to 7th, so Hagee must have played the Uno reverse card on Amuda. Look at this scenes as they make their way down towards the hairpin. James right to the inside, CJ into the pits. CJ might have picked up damage there. Indeed he did. He was ran into the back of it, would seem, judging by the aero damage. 3 wide once again as they make their way down the straight. The not so straight, if you will. Splurge, look, he's got nowhere to go. He's got the pace, he's got all the slipstream. Unbelievable scenes. And Crazy John now with the clear air has to make up a fair bit of time. It'll be difficult with these guys slipstreaming like this. Hagee up to 2nd now after battling back. We know he's very good at gaining positions very quickly. We saw that at Laguna Seca's 2nd race, starting at the back of the grid, and of course going all the way up to the lead in around 3 or so laps. Could be completely wrong on that stat, but I know it didn't take long. The Toyotas, now they're up to speed again, are indeed starting to check out a little bit. Not as checked out as the Joe 2 guy. Ironic, because he works in a freezer at Tesco all day apparently. Well, not a freezer, a fridge. Great banter as they make their way through the S's. James up to 4th. They qualified a little bit further down than that, so they've made good progress. The M4 seeming to get a good launch. We'll be trying to stick with the rest of the ART crew. It's ART cars 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. So they're having a very good showing, but TSR Joe 2 guy very much up the road at this stage. Amuda into pits. They have picked up damage, it would seem, on the GBM M4. That's allowing CJ to move up a position. Here we see, look, 6.6 seconds now, the gap between these. It actually seems like the Alpha has a little bit of a straight line advantage, judging by the splits. That could be down to setup. I know Joe does tend to run his cars quite low to the ground. Cough cough, Ferrari 330 P4. Hagee really sending it, you can see on the limit there as they make their way through the chicane. Great action as they're making their way through. Now will Quinners be battling Hagee going into turn 1? We're about to see. I'm not 100% sure if he will be, actually. I think he's just choosing to hang back for now. Here it is again, just seeing how on the limit Hagee was. Look at this. Proper Tokyo drifting. Make their way out the S's, down the off-ramp towards the hairpin. Quinners looking to the outside. That seems to be a tactical position swap there between the two ART blue cars, or ART pink and purple here today, of course. Splurge into the pits. What's happened to Splurge? Splurge has picked up damage somewhere. When did that happen? My only guess is he's hit a wall somewhere. He's now down to 8th place because of that. closest battling on track is between these two Toyotas here. Hagee all over the back of Quinners like a rash. That was taken straight out of the commentator's dictionary. Here we go, on board with Hagee towards the chicane. Here you see the contrasting lines again as Quinner's very close to hitting the exit wall, but Quinner's not really taking any curbs at all through there, doesn't want to risk it for a chocolate biscuit at all. And again, this time Hagee seems to have a bit of a run on the outside. Hagee goes ahead. And for some reason the name Hagee Kovalainen's just come up in my head now. Oh dear. How my brain functions sometimes, it never ceases to disappoint me. Fourth place, James, holding off Vital for now. Vital's actually up into the top 5, so good work by them in the other Toyota. On the brakes again for the hairpin. Oh! Bit of a lag spike there. I believe both cars are okay. Oh! Wait, no! Or did he have that? Okay, no. Quinner's had that damage before. Maybe that's why they made the swap again. Is because Quinner's picked up damage somewhere. That might have been when he got a bit too close to the wall on the outside of the chicane. Side by side they run again though. Quinner's, even with the aero damage, manages to get a run and get ahead. Up into second again. Great work here between these two cars, but it is allowing the rest of the pack to close up a little bit with this position swapping. Close to the wall again for both of them. James just keeping Vital out of slipstream range. Of course, it's now 7/10 of a second again, or 7.5. They're all thereabouts. And Vital actually does manage to get back into that slipstream range, so the Toyota again having the speed towards the end of the straight. Perhaps on acceleration, the BMW holding quite strong. Oh, just clipping the wall on the outside. And actually, I think, did James have that damage already? Or did he just pick that up? I think he may have just picked that up. And he's heading for the pits. Indeed. Here it is again. Just running too wide, picks up the damage. This is it. Most of the crashes actually on this circuit tend to come from driver error more than actual incidents between people. Joe, 7.1 seconds up the road, looking to set a purple time this time around. Well, purple through sector 2 anyway. Crazy John has actually managed in that clean air to make a 1:40.839, which is the current fastest lap of the race. He's down in 6th, but as more and more people seem to be succumbing to mistakes, he seems to be making his way slowly but steadily back up the order, and in fact, he's just about within range of Wang and Ghost, so he is closing up on the rest of the pack ahead. We know he does have quite a bit of pace in him. Look forward to seeing what he does later on in the race. We're only a third of the way through the race, as 6 laps have been completed. Vital, now in 4th place, has been released. Be interesting to see if they can manage to catch the other two Toyotas up ahead as they continue to battle it out between them. Here it is once again. Hagee staying ahead of Quinners for now. Quinners, interestingly, not choosing a pit even though they do have that damage still. Thinking it's not really worth it, and perhaps just thinking because they have Hagee as a slipstream partner, that can counteract some of the time that they're losing throughout the rest of the lap. by having that slipstream on the straight. Gonna go on board here with Quinners through the tunnel. Oh, having to think twice about sending it down the inside on that occasion. Again, contrasting lines. Hagee goes for the earlier exit. Quinners a bit of a later one, aiming to get a bit more speed on the downhill. And the chicane. Everyone's starting to get more used to that chicane now. Hagee pulling away a little bit. In fact, even with the slipstream, I think he's pulling away, so that might be the cutoff point where the aero starts becoming more of a hindrance. And Vital in fourth, 1.1 seconds back from this battle. He's definitely coming into it. In fact, can I want to just quickly check lap times between these guys. Let's see, so 1:41.0 for Vital last time around, improving again. 1:41.4s for Hagee. 1:41.6s there for Quinners. So indeed, Vital definitely has the pace to be closing up to these guys, and is indeed doing so. Set that back, there we go. So it could be a three-way Toyota scrap for second place. Wangan Ghost, meanwhile, a little bit further back, 3.5 seconds back. And Crazy John, 1.5 seconds back from them, also closing in. You see the other Honda in the background. Should be quite a level playing field. Of course, there is the matter of ballast to attend to. Oh, look at that. Really just sending it through that chicane. Of course, Crazy John does have LMP experience around this circuit, especially in multi-class conditions anyway, in the Nukeshot Endurance Series, so he knows how to navigate that chicane well enough by now, one would think. Knows the limit. And of course, going to correct myself for something I may have said later on about Joe potentially running a bit of a lower car. I believe it's stock setups. Then again, I could be wrong on that. This is why I need a Mika. I forget these things, I apologise. James is improving. He's green through sector 1, so looking promising for him, but he is on the island at the moment. He's got Splurge 2.2 seconds behind him to keep him company, but 8 seconds up the road now is CJ. Meanwhile, Quinners ahead of Hagee again. These two side by side as they make their way through the tunnel. Very, very close to each other. Good racing room course left by the two teammates. Hagee looking to the inside line.com. Does he go for it? No! Quinners managed to swoop round the outside. Hold on to that position. And in fact, hold on a second, because I believe CJ has managed to get past Wangan Ghost. Indeed he has done. When did that happen? It must have been on the straight or somewhere. Apologies for missing that one. But CJ is indeed past Wangan Ghost. Do they have damage? No? So a great effort by CJ to manage to make up all that time. Now he's hunting down Vitor. Again, Joe not really getting too much screen time. That's because he's 11 seconds up the road. 1 minute 40.450 is the fastest lap of the race by them. They hit the wall on exit going onto the straight. That's not going to help them. Don't think they would get damage for that though. Quinners understeering a fair bit as they go onto the straight. Hagee probably has a decent chance of a run. These guys also gotta have to watch out for CJ, dependent on whether he can get past Vital or not, because that Honda does seem to have quite a lot of pace. Hagee side by side once again with Quinners. As they go through the tunnel, Hagee manages to pull ahead this time. Does he defend the insideline.com? No, no real need to. In fact, it's probably optimal to be on the outside for that particular corner, given the banking. We did see Quinners manage to defend his position quite well one lap ago. You also got to think it could be difficult for these guys running in dirty air going through that chicane, because you're not going to have too much visibility of where your apexes are if you're running that close. And the cars do bunch up again once they go into braking zones, of course, like an accordion. Vital still charging, although that gap between them and the two Toyotas ahead has pretty much stagnated. It's a stalemate at the moment, and he's not in that slipstream range. Again, sparks being thrown up on the outside. Hagee going for a very wide line. That could potentially just be understeer. In fact, no, gets a good slingshot out the corner, manages to keep ahead of Quinners. So we'll check a bit further down the order. ALT James, here they are. They're in 7th. If anything, Splurge is catching up to them. That could be an interesting battle for 7th later on. The Honda again seems to have advantage in the latter stages of the straight, which of course is balanced out by the BMW's acceleration being a 7-speed gearbox. Wangan Ghost again pretty much on an island, and Amuda getting close to being lapped, unfortunately. He's coming from the pits, I believe, multiple times. And again, oh, and wait, he had damage and then he suddenly hadn't. That's odd. Perhaps a bit of neck cover experience. That could be quite interesting. Joe will have to be very patient if he is experiencing that as well. Hagee, a little bit twitchy himself with the neck cover. Oh, and Quinn, that could be on my end actually. So apologies if it is on my end, if multiple cars are lagging just that slight little bit. Vital has really managed to close up now, ever since I mentioned it. Oh, Quinners slides! That's going to lose momentum for them as they make their way onto the straight. Here we see they're losing out, they're not in the slipstream of their teammate Hagee anymore. And here comes Vital. Plenty of speed here from the Brazilian as they make their way through, narrowly missing, pulling out just at the right time to make the move stick, and manages to get past. So that's Vital up to 3rd place. Admittedly, I'd still think that Quinners staying out is probably the right call to make. It's just unfortunate that he had the damage at all, really. Nevertheless, 4th place at the moment, still plenty of racing to go. We're 2/3 through. This is race 1 of round 4 of the ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2. Brought to you live on Nukeshot Media. I'm, of course, your commentator Zokeo, and I hope you're enjoying the coverage. Live at the Tokyo Expressway, well, live from my inverted commas studio. As Vital actually into the wall. That's damage for them as Quinners is lagging his way around the outside. And actually, was that damage for Vital? No! Dear, this is interesting. Apologies. It's gotta be on my end. To be. Side by side between Vital and Quinners. Two Toyotas having a drag race. Now, with them being side by side, that is extremely beneficial for Crazy John, as both of them aren't getting slipstream from that. And Crazy John would be, so therefore the Hondas gain and the Toyota's not really gaining anything from each other. Quinners now slots back behind Vitor. Here we go. So you try and send it around the outside. It's possible to send it around the outside. In fact, I think he's going to try it. Not quite close enough. Not quite there. Into the chicane. Oh, Vitor very airborne. Managing to gather it up. Fair play to them for that one. Hagee still second. Vitor still managing to hold into third with some very good defensive driving at the moment. One of the trains going past there. You can see in the background. Through the S's again. Because this particular section relies so much on flow, running in dirty air and also running in such a high pressure situation is very mentally straining. I know this from my experience racing here on this circuit in league racing. It's very demanding, and it shows how good these guys really are. Is he looking at outbreak? No, just taking a different line, putting himself in the mirrors of Vitor, and that seems to have worked as Vitor makes a bit of a slip up. We're going rear wing cam here on Vitor's Toyota. We're going to see if Quinners will be able to catch up. Remember, they do still have the aero damage, so it's not looking as much of a gain as when it was the other way around. And I think Vitor is just about within the slipstream of Hagee again. Oh, looking to be a little bit defensive. We're fighting the car all the way through the apex. The chicane again. Look at this. Great scenes. Oh! Extremely close to the wall that time for Vitor. Somehow managing to keep it out. Did I leave my phone audio on? Yeah, okay, that's fixed. Apologies for that. Quinners now looking to the outside. Vitor defending the insideline.com. Only a handful of laps left to go. It's quite a long lap though. 1 minute 40 set by Vitor actually, the new fastest lap of the race. 140.416. They've definitely proven their pace, and now look, Crazy John is indeed coming into the mix. He's looking to the inside. I think he's just about alongside the Toyota, is he? He certainly is now on the brakes. He goes a bit deep, does he? No, manages to gather it up to the apex. Great move there by Crazy John. We're going to see if he can gain on the straight as well. Now he's got into the slipstream ranges than the others. There it is again. Full commitment. Fair play to you, lad. Now Vitor will be his next target. Through the tunnel they go. Seemingly just stuck to the rear bumper. I don't quite think bump drafting. Just extremely close. And in fact Vitor looking to perhaps try and make a move there. Oh! Bit of contact between the two of them there, and that's allowing Quinners back up the inside. Quinners makes a move into the chicane. Great stuff there by Quinners. We're going to have to see what happened to Vitor in all of this. What happened? They just run a bit wide. Crazy John managed to get a cutback. I don't quite think there was contact. If there was, then it was, if anything, a little bit of netcode. And then Quinners managing to get it done at the chicane on the brakes. Great stuff by them. Vitor down to 5th, having to have a scrap with Quinners again. In fact, 4th and 5th have indeed dropped off the back of the others now. That's going to definitely hinder Quinners again. Now he doesn't have the slipstream and has that damage. To the inside goes Vitor. A little bit of onion barges. Oh, seeming to be okay. But I think we're going to see if the Honda can keep up with the Toyota at the top end of the straight. Side by side actually for 4th and 5th again. We might be able to see a bit further back. They've slotted back in again. The Honda just within the slipstream range again, and they're coming up to Lapamuda here, so the traffic could play its part. They're coming up to the chicane as well. Amuda's hopefully going to be able to get out of the way safely. Indeed does so, recognises the cars behind. No technical flagged rules in game anyway alerting the drivers, as that also allows ghosting to be on slightly. So the drivers having to be extra aware in these kind of situations. Crazy John looking to the outside as Hagee defends the inside. You can run side by side through the S's. We've seen it done before. Hagee manages to hold on. 2 laps to go here at the Tokyo Expressway for race 1. Of course, race 2, reverse grid. Be interesting to see how Joe does from the back of that, because it's looking very likely that he's going to be able to take the win here. To the inside goes Crazy John. I think Hagee might deliberately let him past in that situation so he can have the slipstream again on the straight. It's almost like a game of chess is racecraft. I always come up with this analogy because it's very, very tactical. You've got to think several steps ahead, and Hagee definitely doing so there at the hairpin, allowing CJ pass in order to get a run on the slipstream. And look, he's got ahead now because of that. Vital into the pits. They may have had damage. In fact, they must have had damage. I doubt they'll be for tyres or anything. Now, how will CJ respond to that racecraft? What's he gonna do? Is he perhaps gonna hang back himself? We've got 1 lap to go as these guys are making their way onto the start-finish straight to go on to that final lap. They see the marshal there with the checkered flag in hand, not waving just yet. Crazy John looking to the outside, a bit more committed this time. Nope. Hagee manages to hold on yet again. Great dueling between the two of them. Good respect being shown as well. As they go down the off-ramp towards the hairpin, what happens this time around? Will Crazy John stick back? No, he's going to send it again, but not quite as much. He is indeed letting Hagee go. Now, what I might do in this situation, as they're side by side actually, is let off the throttle to get a little bit of a gap and then get a bit of a run. That way the overtake more likely to stick, but at the minute they're running side by side, so then clearly having their own ideas on racecraft, which is fair enough. They're the ones racing, I'm not. Far be it from me to tell anyone how to race. Crazy John all over the bumper again of Hagee. Running out of chances here. Looking to the outside, it's going to be a worldly overtake if he does it there. Contact between the two of them. There's no damage for Crazy John, I think. There might be damage for Hagee. In fact, I don't know. Neither damage for either of them. The Joe 2 guy takes the win. Congratulations to them. I think Hagee is just about going to hold on to second place. Crazy John will take third in the end. Winner's fourth. We're going to see if we can get the replay up on what exactly happened here. Oh, I messed that up slightly. Apologies for that. Still a bit rusty on the controls after the break. Could be one for the stewards to look at. Difficult to tell. No damage for either of them though. So it's probably down to netcode. So to run down the order again, Fourth place goes to Quinners. James takes 5th. Splurge 6th on their return. 7th place to Wang and Ghost. Vitor will come home in 8th place and Amuda 9th. That was race 1 of 2 here at the Tokyo Expressway's South Outer Loop here today. Second race, of course, going to be reverse grid. Of course, very impressive drive by the Joe 2 guy. Managed to get away at the start. Pretty much a time trial session for him, really. Then again, it does take a lot of skill in order to just keep on setting those kind of quick laps. Who was it that got fastest lap at the end? Was it Vitor? No, Joe managed to get the fastest lap back again. Lap 16, 140.228. Here are your gaps. 18 seconds he had over Hagee in the end. 19 over Crazy John. Good battling throughout the field though, and we look forward to race 2. Should be coming up in not overly long. These guys will be setting up the lap count and stuff shortly. Race 2 will begin in approximately 5 minutes or so. Joe, even though he's had a 18 lap time trial session, having to get a little bit of extra practice in there. 12 laps now, of course. That's the 20-minute length that we are going for this time around. Hello to, well, I don't think I've formally said hello to Brandon yet in chat, so hello Brandon. And Crazy John as well, Swablu and Vitor. Nice having you guys along. Race 2 is going to be a night race. So of course colder temperatures could have an effect on the level of grip and the tyres. Which, even though it's not visually represented stat, is actually a thing in Gran Turismo Sport, is tyre temperature. Well, technically it's visible, but details. Track temperature is probably the term I'm looking for here. City's looking fantastic. Of course, plenty of distractions as well with the neon everywhere, with these billboards, flashing lights and such. Amuda asking about rain. You can't actually have rain on this particular Tokyo Expressway layout. No, that's not an actual thing. It was only released for the east and the central loops. This has been the Gran Turismo nerd. But in all seriousness, Joe will be starting at the back of the grid, so we should be able to see a good fight back from him through the field. The Toyotas will also be towards the back of the grid, at least of Arrows Racing Blue, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. Of course, we know they're not that good on the grid start, but once they're up to speed, they're very, very pacey. CJ wanted to do central loop, or wishing we could. Maybe in Group 4 that could work. Anything higher, this no. We've actually done some karting races at one point on the central loop. There's some good fun back in the day. Say back in the day, it's probably a few months ago, or several months ago. Probably before the COVID-19 pandemic, so quite a while ago. Been good catching up with all you guys in chat and of course in the series as well after the break. Good seeing, even though we have had a break, still a decent attendance of 9 cars. because if I was being honest, normally when you have a break like this, you would expect not everyone to be informed and such, but the guys at the ARS Racing series have done a very good job at getting everyone notified in order to have a great grid and indeed some great racing once again here today. To answer John wondering in chat, it should be around 2 minutes or so away now, is race 2. We'll have to see. Patience. It's a shame that you couldn't make it yourself here, John, but I assume that you have your commitments. There we go. Camera's fixed. ALT Splurge, great having them back as well. They've been very, very busy. Planning a wedding, I believe. So, of course, congratulations to them. Not married just yet, if I recall. Great noise the Honda makes. Especially at night. With these sound barriers and stuff. The sound barriers normally used to keep noise down to the outside, also very good at shielding the noise inwards to the track, so you really get to hear, even when they're not in the tunnels, some of the engine notes around here. It's fantastic. You also see the marbles building up. I did mention earlier how they don't really have anywhere to go in terms of a grass runoff, so they tend to build up quite a lot on the track. Very sideways! There we go, that's what we want to see. Great action there from ART Splurge. How'd the first race go? It went well! It went well. Little bit of onion barges at the start and towards the end. But there's mainly down to netcode and stuff. For the most part, it's been fairly clean here, as we see very Tokyo Drift style Splurge going around the first corner. Great stuff to see. Perhaps he knows the camera's on him. Jack Wilkinson bigging him up. And of course, big up to Jack Wilkinson himself. And what on earth is that abomination? It's a Hondota, it would seem. Okay. So, message from Race Director. We're now 7 minutes away or so from the start of Race 2. Oh! And now there's a BMW into this mix of many machines as well. In fact, I think there's a couple BMWs. I think that's the livery of... well, that one's the livery of a Muda, the grey one. I'm almost certain I saw one of James merged into that as well. Here you see the sort of size comparisons. The Honda a fair bit wider than the Toyota. So Toyota generally quite a bit better for street circuits, you'd think, in that sense. Keeping it nice and narrow. Good for slipstreaming, that. Of course, high downforce with extra width. Or catching more air, I should probably say. That might also be an interesting factor to look into. The aerodynamic properties of each of these cars. Here's a Muda. Oh! Add that one to an unfortunate fail compilation, and the other BMW of James goes right into him as well. Unfortunately, we don't have the replay in practice mode. But Amuda just cutting that first part of the chicane too much, clipping the inside wall. Not often we see that, and then James, as Amuda unghosted, James going through. Really unfortunate. I believe Wake has had similar issues before with cars unghosting at very inopportune moments, if I'm remembering correctly. Surprised they just not reset to the pits or something. Wangan Ghost. Ah, of course. I've just saw the Irish flag on the front. I forget which way around it is with them. Whether they're an American that lives in Ireland or the other way around, or whatever the situation is with them. Apologies again. Watch them be Quinners Fan TV or someone. For all I know. Tell you what though, that Castrol livery really bringing back some special stage Route 11 vibes here on the night of the Tokyo Expressway. Fantastic circuit, hoping that that one's going to make a return in the upcoming Gran Turismo 7. Of course, best to just keep it a hope and not an expectation. An Irish lad in the States. Yeah, that was it, John. Thanks for that one. Here is an American living in America. He's now making his way out. Is a Muda of the Californian-based Golden Bear Motorsports outfit. I'm not 100% sure if they themselves are from California, but I know that John Wandering, who's fairly active in the chat, is. Hence the bear from, I believe, the Californian state flag being a prominent logo on their cars. Here we go again, just understeering a little bit. Not able to carry too much speed when doing so. All about finding the rhythm there, Amuda. Same with the chicane. Smooth inputs, firmly grasp it, as Patrick Starr once said. Amuda is a Floridian. Oh, isn't that fancy? So both sides of the United States coming together to race for the same team. That's an interesting story there. East Coast and West Coast. The Joe 2 guy seems to be reversing here. I'm not sure what he's doing. Ah, I know what he's doing. He's practicing his grid starts. So he went into a grid slot and just did a little bit of practice launching off the line. Good to see that. It's not often that we get to see the different types of practice that these guys do. I mean, a lot of these guys, to be fair, go into the races completely blind without any practice. I myself being one of them in terms of league racing. The majority of the times I just show up and don't even know the track that we're racing, to be honest. Of course, I do a little bit of extra research when I'm broadcasting. We see CJ parked up in a Muda as well. We're around 1 minute away from race 2 commencing. What is this practice of which you speak? Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Model's building up in the tunnel, interestingly. It's not that much of a curve, really, in the tunnel. I mean, you can go flat out through it, but at those kind of speeds that the cars are running, it does take its toll on the tyres, as is showing. And there's ART Splurge making their way through the chicane. Very non-risk compared to some of the others again. Very similar to what we saw Quinners doing, not really taking much if any of the curbs. We saw Joe in the background taking a fair bit more. I haven't done the normal YouTuber thing of asking, or, well, quotation marks, reminding everyone, if you're enjoying the broadcast, be sure to leave a like on it. Remember, we are going to still be broadcasting the rest of the season here on Nukeshot Media, so hopefully no more delays. Of course, they did have their reasons for it, and if anything else does come up, then that's fair enough, but hopefully we can continue to be bringing you this fantastic racing on a weekly basis for a while. So consider subscribing if you want to keep in touch with when the races go live and such. Especially if we are having to swap around schedules a little bit. Race 2 is indeed about to get started. 20 minutes. Guys having a donut fest there. Underneath the bridge at the hairpin. Here we go again then. It is going to be a Muda on pole position with the reverse grid start. Should be a good getaway from them actually. Vitor alongside the 86. We know the 86 not that good off the line. Wangan goes third in the Honda. Splurge in another Honda. They're in fourth. James fifth. Quinn is sixth. Crazy John seventh. Hagee eighth. And of course the Joe 2 guy, winner of the last race, in ninth. We're about to get racing for race 2 of round 4 of ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2. Green, 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 and the cars are off once again. And again, look, the BMW managed to get a great launch, and the Toyota less so. Vitor seeming to struggle a bit off the line, and the other Toyotas have dropped right down to last and second to last. Great dueling already. Vitor's actually done a very good job here, holding on to second despite that bog off the line. Splurge in third, doing a very good job holding that position at the moment. Joe has somehow managed to get up to fourth in all this, as the guys are trying to go 8 wide or something at the back. Wangan goes shoved into the wall. To the inside now goes Crazy John. Hagee starting to make their way up the order. Amuda and Vitor. These two very close together, side by side. The ARS Racing pink and purple machines are. And now look, the top end of the Toyota coming into its own. Vitor goes up into the lead of the race. Do they? Yep. There it is. Will we be seeing any challenging going into this corner? Vitor, very good defensive work there by them. Seeming to hold on to it for now. Joe up to third place meanwhile. And in fact, look at this, side by side through that particular turn. That right-hander heading down towards the chicane. They're still side by side. James! James getting it all wrong. You can't stay side by side through there. Oh dear, James. What's happened there then, lad? Oof. Once this calms down a bit, we're going to see if we can get that on a replay. Crazy John having to go defensive. Can't quite cover off the inside line.com from Hagee though. Side by side they run. Looking to the outside, nearly 3 wide. Crazy John looking, and indeed Hagee manages to get through. Great work there by ART Hagee. Crazy John slipping back a little bit towards the hairpin. Once they exit the hairpin, it might be able to get the replay up. We'll have to see. That is extremely unfortunate though for ART James so early on as well. Oh, Quinners sliding. Oh, that was a bit of lag. Apologies for that. Oh, what happened here then? We're going to go on board here with James. I think it... Oh... I think what it might have been was trying to leave the racing room, but also just running out of space, pretty much. They're in the pits, they're exiting the pits now, repaired, and a fair bit off of the rest of the pack, unfortunately for them. Vitor leads through the chicane once again. Second place is Amuda. Amuda's doing a very good job again, holding on at the moment. Joe up to third. Be interesting to see Joe battling these guys as they make their way through. Splurge fourth. Hagee up to fifth. 6th place for Crazy John. Quinners looking a little bit racy as they make their way towards turn 1. Splurge looking for a very wide entry there. Again, some of these guys just clipping the walls. Wangan goes from the back as well, doing so. Great dueling as Splurge runs a little bit wide, that's allowing Hagee to go up alongside. Bit of onion barges between those two. Does Splurge try and send it? Crazy John tries to send it on the outside. Nope. Tries a bit of a time to exit. Can't quite get it done. Splurge into the wall again. It's allowing the other Honda through. Oof! And as that wall was closing, I just thought TJ might have just clipped it. Clip it like it's one of his compilations. Indeed, manages to avoid doing so. These three very, very close still though. As Joe has actually managed to get past a Muda. When did that happen? Must have been at the hairpin. Apologies for missing that one. But he has managed to get past, and now he's just got Vitor in his way. Through the chicane they go once again. Very sideways there from a Muda. 5th and 6th still going at it. Splurge doing a good defensive job at the moment. Defending a fellow Honda driver. Different teams of course, but same machinery. To the outside now goes Crazy John. Can't quite get it done there. Although actually 6th and 7th dueling, so Crazy John's actually made a mistake, have they? Crazy John's actually into the wall, it would seem, at one point. I'm just going to quickly check. Indeed, I think Joe's going to try the outside. And indeed manages to get up into 1st place. Crazy John into the pit, so I'm going to have to see what happens on there. So it was close between the two of them here. Oh! That would be where they got the damage from then. And then they lose a position to Quinners. So Splurge seeming to just understeer. Of course, a car on the outside with a car on the inside understeering. Never a good combination. Vitor fighting back at the end of the straight. Looking to go the outside line. Can't quite hold it. The Alfa Romeo goes back to the lead. Will they try and outbrake him into the chicane? That's going to be a very risky one to pull on someone like the Joe 2 guy. They hold back for now. Amuda being challenged for 3rd. Hagee has managed to break away from Splurge after their contact with CJ. And indeed, the Toyota looking very strong. This is very much the Toyota circuit around here. To the outside they go. It'll be the inside for this next section. Still side by side, neck and neck, wheel to wheel, as they make their way through the S's. Leaning on each other through there. Tap of the brakes from Muda. And Hagee manages to make that one stick. Whew. Juicy, juicy stuff. Now Splurge didn't have any damage in that particular instance. It's actually, look at this, the acceleration of the BMW allowing them to fight back on the Toyota. It's not beneficial being under the rear wing all the way down the straight. Oh, a little bit of contact. What you need is a little bit of a gap so you can gather the momentum and then be able to make an overtake that way. That's generally how you would get it done. Nevertheless, Amuda still tucked right underneath the rear wing of Hagee. To the chicane once more. Very, very close stuff. Close to the wall again. and the Joe 2 guy has broken the slipstream from Vital, and this time he didn't really have to rely on anyone battling in order to do that. So once again, Joe showing his very, very impressive pace in that Alfa Romeo. He has been subject to a little bit of incidents and unfortunate happenings throughout the season so far. I'm gonna say this as a little bit of a joke, so don't take this anything more than such. This time his teammate Swablu isn't here, so he seems to be doing alright. Oh dear, I'm sorry Swablu, it's a funny coincidence, nothing more than that, okay? Joe is doing very well though. Vital holding on to second at the moment. Side by side, is it between 4th and 5th? So Splurge looking to make a move on Amuda. These two side by side as they make their way towards the corner. Splurge in theory should have a bit of an advantage being on the outside line, but chooses to back out of it through here. Normally the car on the inside tends to be a bit more submissive than normal through there, but nevertheless he set himself up for the inside of the chicane. Oh! And Amuda gets it all crossed up! Somehow survives. I've no idea how he's managed that. Here we go again. Let's see this. I thought he just lost his focus there, but he managed to gather it up. Oh, was there a bit of contact? Yeah, rear aero damage in fact, between those two. So I moved up with rear aero damage. Splurge, does he have front aero damage from that? No. Seems to be okay. And look at this, Quinners all over the back of these guys. On board we go. Down towards the hairpin once again. Look at this aggressive moves for the overtake there by Splurge. Perfectly fine with him being the car behind in that situation. Gotta be careful about Quinners. Quinners in fact managing to get past after I think Splurge may have lost a fair bit of time from that particular move. A little bit of a bump draft there between Splurge and Quinners, of course both ART drivers. And that has allowed the Toyota to get a fantastic run with the acceleration. And both of the ART cars managing to get through by working together there. Of course, I believe bump drafting in this particular series is perfectly legal. Might not be for something more Group 3 or Group 2-esque at a guess. It's very series dependent is the issue of bump drafting. It's a very interesting debate, but not one to get involved with at this moment in time, as we have some great racing still happening on circuit. The Joe 2 guy with the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 40.727. Look at this as they're making their way through the S's this time. If anything, that Toyota seems to have a fair bit of an advantage now through that section of corners. So we moved it down to 6th. Wang and Ghost in 7th in that Castrol liveried Honda. In 8th place. He's making up ground, but I don't quite think it's going to be enough for CJ at this rate. He's down in 8th at the moment. And then of course James, unfortunate incident for them, puts them down in 9th. You can see how scratched up the front of that car is. Joe with a 3-second gap, not quite the 18 seconds he had in race 1, then again less time. Again, he's so impressive, is the Joe 2 guy. You see how he just takes that amount of curb and doesn't seem to unsettle the car really at all? great to watch him in action, as I think Hager had a bit of a scary moment through the chicane. Let's see. Yep, very sideways. Keeps it together though, and it's all about keeping it together on a street circuit. All about consistency, all about keeping it out of the barriers. Of course, not colliding with other cars in such a confined space. It does get quite narrow in certain sections of the Tokyo Expressway. This being one of the more wider layouts, it does widen out quite a bit, as you can see here, down the off-ramp towards the hairpin, which is all good. Lots of contrasting lines. Hagi will be looking to challenge Vitor. Neither of them with damage, which is good news for them. 1.5 seconds the gap. Vitor will be looking to hold on to that second place, of course. Unless Joe makes a mistake, I think the win is pretty much sewn up for them. They seem to be checking out once again. Green sector by 2/10. Well, green on their lap by 2/10, I should probably say, for Vitor that time around. So they seem to have gained a little bit of time over Hagi. Hagi seemed to be a bit better through that particular right-hander. Very close to the wall again. As Hamuda and Wangan Ghost very close together themselves. Because Hamuda with that rear air damage has been affected, and they are dropping back a little bit. It's allowing them to catch up, and that is deceiving me, or... Yes, Crazy John is indeed starting to catch up as well. Again, I think it might be a bit too little too late, but you never know with Crazy John. Through the S's they go again. Wangango's probably held up a little bit. Zamuda's car being slower with damage. Looking to the outside. Oh! What a run they had there. Not quite enough to pull up alongside. Might have had to lift as the road narrowed. Looking to the outside of the hairpin here now. Amuda going very defensive. Probably be better going a bit closer to the other side, but nevertheless managing to hold on to the position. No real need to shoo-me squeeze the Honda. As CJ into the pits. CJ's actually picked up damage again. That could potentially drop them behind James. Are they even working on the car? I don't think they are. I think CJ might have called it a day here and just parked it in the pits, which is unfortunate. Cars bumping their way around. Oh! Hagi hits the wall! Hagi hits the wall! As, oh, no, sorry. That was a while ago. At least it looked like Hagi hit the wall. Either that or they just got very out of shape as they went over the curb. Nope, they did hit the wall. They avoided suspension damage though. And they haven't lost that much time to Vitor. It still stays around the 1.5 second range. You gotta think, in this particular battle, it might have been very much helpful for Hagi if the slipstream had stayed at 1.3 seconds, but of course it's changed to 7.5 tenths. So he's going to have to really push if he wants to catch, and more importantly overtake the Brazilian up ahead of him. Quinners in 4th place. So again, very consistent performance between both of the ARS Racing pink and purple machines. Of course, normally ARS Racing blue, with their special liveries just for the Japan races. Or it could be for the rest of the season. Have to see. Splurge, of course, also rocking the attention. They're going on to the last lap of the race, and in fact, Ghost has managed to get past Amuda. We're going to see if we can catch that one again, Chief. Very close between them. It was on the straight, it would seem, probably in the slipstream. Amuda looking to perhaps send it to the inside, managing to do so, but the outside paying off in the end. Great dueling though. Still side by side, there they run. 6th and 7th place, Ghost looking to the outside. I think they've ran a bit too deep, and Amuda manages to make up the position. The pressure getting to Ghost there. They're making their way through. Oh, but the gap's there to the inside. Does he manage to get a run? He does. Little bit of a clip to the wall. Down they plunge, down the off-ramp, towards the hairpin. We're about to see what they can do. Who's going to be better on the brakes? You'd normally back the BMW in that circumstance. Seems to have got it done. Indeed, Amuda stays ahead, but Slipstream is going to be in favour of Ghost. The Joe 2 guy once again. Pretty much flawless race. Still has the chicane in the final corner to go. It's looking quite comfortable for them. Vitor seems to have backed off the pace a little bit. This Hagee has caught up a fair bit. Oh, has they got damage? No, they have just pretty much backed up at this stage. Hopping over the chicanes. Hagee really sending it. Amuda and in fact Wangan Ghost managing to get past the Joe 2 guy, takes the win. Vital is going to get 2nd place, and Hagee takes 3rd. 4th place for Quinners, 5th place for Splurge. But this battle, oh, and there's contact with the wall. So Wangan Ghost is going to get 6th. What's happened with Amuda in 7th? Here's the battle again. You can see what happens a little bit better from this particular onboard, the chase cam. We're going to say, did they just send it? I think they felt that they had to. Oh, actually, no. They just overran it a little bit. Clipped the back. So, 7th place is going to be for Amuda. 8th place for James. And Crazy John exiting the pits, realising that the timer's going to keep going. So he's just going to finish for everyone else. 9th place for them. But the Joe 2 guy makes it a pretty much perfect race weekend. Congratulations to them on fantastic drive for car 27. That's definitely going to help them in terms of the championship standings. In fact, I believe that takes them to the championship lead, as they were level on points with Hagee before. So great work by them. The Joe 2 guy, our new championship leader. As we've gone past round 4, and round 5 is going to be taking place at the Nürburgring 24-hour layout on the 4th of September, it says here. That's definitely something to look forward to as well. We've had some great racing here today at the Tokyo Expressway. Hope you've all enjoyed. Again, be sure to leave a like on the stream if you have enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to stay in touch with all of the notifications and such for the ARS Racing series and anything else that goes off on the channel. 8 positions gained by the Joe 2 guy. Great result by them. Great opening laps as well, specifically, I have to say. Save the replay. I forgot to do that with race 1. Here it was again, 6.433 seconds between them and Vital in the end. Vital holding on to 2nd. Great result for them. 3 of the top 4 Toyota 86s. I thought that might suit them, this track. The Hondas 5th and 6th, BMW 7th and 8th, and the other NSX of CJ not finishing. Well, parking up, technically. So, again, that pretty much concludes the stream. Under normal circumstances, I might consider doing post-race interviews, but I'm kind of exhausted, so apologies for that. I'm just gonna have to settle for that today. Probably bring them back next time out though, depending on how rusty I still am. Again, apologies for any rust since then. Yeah, again, that pretty much concludes the stream. Hope you've all enjoyed. And from all of us here at Nukeshot Media, it's goodbye from us.